Welcome to the Non-Negotiable Living podcast, where we're building lives by design by creating non-negotiable habits around fitness, family, faith, and financial freedom.
Hey friends, welcome back to the show. Today we're going to dive into a topic that hits close to home for so many high-performing women I work with, especially moms, professionals, and business owners who are always on, always producing, and always striving for more. But what if I told you that your constant pushing might actually be hurting you? We celebrate high achievement in our culture, but what we rarely talk about is the hidden cost of chronic high achievement, which leads to inflammation, not just stress, not just fatigue, actual biological cellular inflammation that affects our gut, our sleep, our weight, our hormones, and ultimately our health. So let's break it down. Chronic high achievement leads to chronic stress. If you're constantly pushing, producing, proving, and perfecting, then congratulations, you are literally living with chronic stress. Your body doesn't know if the pressure is coming from a deadline, an intense workout, or emotional overload. It just knows that you're in fight or flight mode. When your sympathetic nervous system stays on all the time, your body releases cortisol and adrenaline all day long. And over time, that turns into chronic inflammation, especially in your belly, joints, and gut. According to the American Psychological Association, chronic stress contributes to 6 leading causes of death, including heart disease, diabetes, not to mention an increased risk of autoimmune disorders, brain fog, and anxiety. Also, elevated cortisol disrupts our recovery. So that cortisol should spike in the morning to wake us up and fall at night when we go to sleep. But when we're overworked and overstressed, that rhythm flatlines and reverses. So that's when you start experiencing poor night's sleep, nighttime wake-ups, sugar cravings, increased belly fat, slow muscle recovery, and joint pain. And you can't heal in survival mode. High achievers tend to under-repair, and it's a trap. The more you perform, the more you neglect the basics. If you are skipping meals, you cut carbs, you ignore rest days, you undereat and over-exercise, you have to remember that you run your body like a machine, but some people forget that it needs fuel, recovery, and maintenance. So think of it like this. You wouldn't drive 5,000 miles in a car over an oil change and expect it to run perfectly, right? But that's what we do to our body when we are working 10 to 12 hour days, doing hour-long workouts, not drinking enough water, not eating enough, not getting enough sleep. We are running our body into the ground. It is a machine, and we have to treat it with fuel, recovery, and maintenance. We also have to remember that emotional pressure becomes physical inflammation in the body. The body hears everything your mind says. So if you're constantly thinking, I have to do more, I can't rest, people are counting on me, I'm falling behind, then those thoughts trigger stress hormones. Your thoughts activate inflammatory cytokines, which are the same ones that are involved in fatigue, pain, swelling, and autoimmune flares in the body. This is why mindset work isn't just mental, it literally has a physical impact on our body. So for women, this is all even harder. Female bodies are uniquely sensitive to cortisol, especially during perimenopause, menopause, and seasons of parenting or career growth when our stress levels are already high. That high cortisol disrupts our estrogen and progesterone balance, and that's what contributes to water retention, fatigue, mood swings, stubborn body fat, joint stiffness, and poor recovery from exercise. So inflammation becomes our body's default state. So what do we have to do? We have to check ourselves and decide, are we resting enough? So I want you to take a second to reflect on this. I want you to ask yourself, do I wake up feeling well rested or wired and tired? Am I eating enough calories and protein each day to fuel my output? Do I take at least 1 full rest day per week? I typically recommend 2 for most clients, but some people tend to overexercise, so we need to make sure we're at least getting 1 at the bare minimum. Do I find myself saying yes to everything out of obligation? Am I going to bed scrolling, or am I truly unwinding? Am I hydrating and eating real food, or just surviving on caffeine? Do I feel like I can never shut my brain off? Do I have signs of inflammation, such as bloating, joint pain, fatigue, and skin issues? When was the last time I truly relaxed? Am I constantly anxious about falling behind? So if you answered yes to even a handful of those, then let this be your wake-up call that you might need to start shifting some of your habits, some of your processes, some of the things that you do from day to day to start allowing yourself more rest. And let me just be the first to say, like, full transparency, this is something I struggle with. This week I feel like I have hit a breaking point. I am so overstressed. My brain is so tired. I have been just running myself at 100 miles an hour for months and months, and it's catching up to me. And I am struggling to sleep at night. I'm struggling to wake up feeling well rested. I am struggling to juggle all the things without feeling overwhelmed. So just know you're not alone in this. And it's typical for women, especially busy women who are working and mothers and managing a household and 1,000 different tasks every day. And juggling it all, it just gets to be exhausting. So we need to give ourselves some breaks, some grace, and just know that rest is important, and it's going to help us stay high performing and able to show up and give the best version of ourselves to our family, to our work, to our spouses, to everything we do. So please remember that high performance is not the problem, but chronic performance and not giving yourself rest and grace is. The badge of burnout does not mean you're doing a good job. And you have to remember that rest isn't a luxury. It's something that we biologically require for our health, clarity, and long-term success. In fact, Harvard research shows that burnout leads to a 63% higher risk of chronic disease. And many studies show that elevated cortisol is directly related with increased inflammation markers and hormonal imbalance in women. So if you want longevity, impact, and joy, we need to make rest part of our success strategy and not just something we earn once we start falling apart. So I'll leave you with this. You don't have to choose between being successful and being healthy, but you do have to start treating your health as a prerequisite and not a side quest. True leadership starts with self-leadership, and true excellence starts with having the energy to show up. So we can't pour from an empty cup, and we can't build an empire on a broken foundation. So we need to take care of our bodies, we need to lower the inflammation, and we need to take rest seriously. Our success depends on it. So in the meantime, please lean into those non-negotiable habits. Make sure that you are checking yourself at the door to see, am I managing my stress well? And if I'm not, how do I get better at it? Because once you start managing your stress, lowering that chronic inflammation in your body, you are going to perform better in all that you do. So I hope you guys all have a great day. If you need any help, please reach out to me on Instagram.